Hello everyone. Welcome to Consulteer Inc. and InterlinkIQ.com. To conduct a document review utilizing the Product Identification Program under the SQF Module 2.6.1, first check if the document title matches the uploaded file name on the dashboard. In this instance, we do have the same titles as the Product Identification Program. Next, both must have the same document code. For this example, we do have 2.6.1P0. Since this is a template, we indicate the PCQI as the account initials. However, we can customize the code based on the company's initials. For the page number, we use the page XFY format, ensure that it reflects the current page position and the total page number of the document. Then insert the company logo here, together with the company name, the company address, and enter the designated department. For the originated by section, it can be the food safety, quality assurance, or the quality control personnel of the company. The originator ensures the implementation of the quality management and document control system. First, enter the name of the originator, affix the signature, input the position title, and the date originated. For the reviewed by section, it can be the personnel assigned in the Quality Management Department who reviews the drafted document or its revision for accuracy and implementation. Enter the name of the reviewer, affix the signature, input the position title, and the date reviewed. For the approved by section, it must be the person in the C-level management who has approval authority. Enter the name of the approver, affix the signature, input the position title, and the date approved. The revision date is the same as the date originated or drafted by the author. For the effective date, it is the date the document was signed and approved. The publication date is when the document is published for distribution and initiated personnel training. The implementation date is when the document is distributed and personnel training is completed. For the supersedes, put original for the initial issuance of the document. For any revisions, reflect the initial revision date before the current revision. Please be reminded that this section must be properly filled out to be compliant. Now we will focus on the components of the program. First is purpose. The purpose is the implementation of any certification standard or compliance with a regulatory requirement. For this program, it is for implementation with the SQF Module 2 Edition 9 for food manufacturing under Clause 2.6.1. First, to implement SQF 2.6.1.1. The methods and responsibility for identifying raw materials, ingredients, packaging, work in progress, process inputs, and finished products during all stages of production and storage shall be documented and implemented to ensure raw materials, ingredients, packaging, work in progress, process inputs, and finished products are clearly identified during all stages of receipt, production, storage, and dispatch, and finished product is labeled to the customer specification and/or regulatory requirements. And 2. To implement SQF 2.6.1.2 product startup, product changeover, and packaging changeover procedures shall be documented and implemented to ensure that the correct product is in the correct package and with the correct label, and that the changeover is inspected and approved by an authorized person. Procedures shall be implemented to ensure that the label is reconciled and any inconsistencies investigated and resolved. Product changeover and label reconciliation records shall be maintained. Next purpose is scope. The scope of the program is based on the purpose and serves as a guide in defining and describing the layout of the procedure. It includes receiving of raw materials, ingredients, and packaging materials, production process, packaging process, finished product specification program, product traceability, and shelf life. Third is policy. The policies are the rules set by the company as their implementation guide. 1. The site's document control and records programs such as product trace, product withdrawal and recall, allergen management, food fraud, product release, and product rework programs are facilitated by this program. Second, the effective traceback, recall, stock control, and rotation of materials and products at all stages of production are labeled and identified. Third, the site's suppliers are able to clearly identify the product upon receipt, throughout the process, and when it is a finished product. And fourth, the site demonstrates how the product identification system works for incoming materials, work in progress, and for a finished product. Fourth is procedure. The procedure is the step-by-step process and the actual implementation of the policy. First, under procedure is receiving of raw materials, ingredients, and packaging materials. Under that, specification and procedure for receiving raw materials, ingredients, packaging materials, and processing aids are verified. Raw materials and ingredients are labeled upon receipt and identified throughout the process through to the finished product, which you may refer to approved supplier program, to raw materials, ingredients, and packaging materials receiving protocols, specification verification program, specification validation program, to ingredient label, allergen management program, and the allergen tag. Second, under procedure is production process. The cleanliness of production areas and equipment is ensured before starting food production, which you may refer to Good Manufacturing Practices program. All the raw materials, ingredients, and packaging materials are correctly identified. Materials and products are labeled and identified to allow effective traceback, recall, and stock control and rotation at all stages of production, which you may refer to batch code and lot number, to country of origin, to batching records, to packaging records, weighing records, receiving records, and raw material records. Third is packaging process. Packaging materials of different products are physically segregated. Thus, the risk of cross-contamination, substitutions, and mix-ups is minimized. Strict control over issued labeling materials is implemented. Labeling materials are carefully examined for identity and conformity to the specification listed in the master or batch production records. Reconciliation of the labeling materials are strictly evaluated. The quantity issued is compared with the sum of the quantity used for a good product, used for rejected product, used for samples, and used in documentation, and the quantity damaged, as well as the quantity returned. Labels of raw materials, ingredients, packaging materials, and ingredient tags are kept in the storage area and ordered by their classification, allergen, and others. Changeover is inspected and approved by quality, which you may refer to label reference product and packaging, and to lot code explanation. The finished product is identified, and all product identification details are accurately described on dispatch documents or otherwise included with the shipment once it leaves the facility. The product is identified upon receipt, throughout the process, and when it is finished. The finished product is labeled to the customer specification and/or regulatory requirements. And the finished product label contains information that accurately describes the product following customer specification and/or regulatory requirements in the country of origin and intended country of destination, which you may refer to finished product specification sheet, to finished product specification program, to the certificate of analysis, product release program, product release tag, and food safety plan. Lastly, under procedure is product traceability. All products sold to Costco are marked with a use by, sell by, or best before date that can be used for traceability or recall purposes. Julian code dating is not acceptable for any Costco product. Next is responsibility. The responsibility of the person is indicated. It covers what to perform to comply with the procedure or the policy. First is the responsibility of the purchasing personnel. The responsibility of the purchasing personnel is to ensure that the ordered raw material, ingredients, and packaging have sufficient documentation for proper identification. For the warehouse personnel, it is to accept incoming raw materials, ingredients, and packaging, check the identity, documents, and purchase order for the incoming delivery of raw materials, ingredients, and packaging, and properly store raw materials, ingredients, and packaging materials and tag the ingredients to the classification, allergen, and others. Next is the responsibility of the production personnel. To ensure the proper identification of raw materials, ingredients, and packaging materials, properly segregate the labeling materials, and reconcile labels and compare based on the procedure. For the quality personnel, maintain the product identification system and retain the records and documents. Check and monitor the labeling materials upon issuance. Ensure that the correct product is in the correct package with the correct label. And check and inspect upon release of the finished products before shipping. And lastly, the responsibility of the shipping personnel, and that is to check and monitor the identification details accurately described on dispatch documents. The sixth component of the program is corrective action. The corrective action is the process of taking appropriate steps to eliminate causes of nonconformities or other undesirable situations. If the process for product identification is changed, the site is ensured that the key personnel, such as line employees, label room supervisors, and receiving and shipping personnel are made aware of the changes and their competency is verified. Seventh is review quality. The review section serves as guidelines for conducting the annual or periodic review. 1. There is a documented product identification system in place. 2. The product identification system is effectively implemented. 3. Product is identified during all stages of the process. 4. The finished product is labeled to customer requirements. 5. The finished product is labeled to regulatory requirements in the country of origin and country of destination. 6. All operational staff understands and uses the product identification system. 7th, the correct product is in the correct package with the correct label. 8th, product changeovers are inspected and approved by an authorized person. And procedures to ensure that label is reconciled are implemented and any inconsistencies are investigated and resolved. 8th is reference documents. The reference documents are the set of documents used to implement and monitor a program, policy, or procedure. It includes the lot code explanation, product trace program, product withdrawal and recall, finished product specification sheet, the finished product specification program, followed by certificate of analysis, finished product releasing procedure, product release tag, the corrective action and preventive action form, training records, and finished product label approval form. 9th is reference. The reference section is composed of guides utilized to implement the program. Examples are the certification guide, regulations, and other widely accepted scientific journals, research, and the like. It must comply with the standard format citation, which can be based on either MLA, APA, or Chicago style, and update the access date. Lastly, history. The history section is where we can update the program if there are any changes or revisions made in the document. If there is a revision, enter the revision number, followed by the revision date, the description of the change made, the name of the author or the originator, and the title or department of the author or the originator. Thank you for participating in this document review. This is based on the interpretation of standards and best practices. It must be customized for your intended use. To fully customize your programs, policies, procedures, forms for records, and lessons for training, you may contact Interlink IQ or Consultaire Inc. at services@interlinkiq.com or simply call 202-982-3002.